Hi, Ram. How's it going?
Cool. Thank you. Hi. Nice to meet you. What's up?
Likewise, likewise. So far, so good. So far, so good. Thanks for joining the podcast. And today, we would love to. I would love to discuss the core topic that's connected with startups and AI in general. Is like escaping the hype, how to test the real value of an AI product. And I would love to start maybe with partially the introduction for listeners and viewers who are going to watch it later. Everyone new to Quack. What fundamental problem you guys solve? What is it you're doing? Let's start with that.
Yeah, cool. So I'll start even before a bit. So myself and my co-founder Nadav, we met somewhere like 6, 7 years ago, and since then we started working together.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that we want to one time, like one day, to like open a startup or try ourselves in that area as well. But and we even tried some ideas, some projects, but in some point we understand that it's not the right time, and then we shifted to
Mm-hmm.
like providing a software services to other companies. I'm previously a software engineer and Nadav a product manager previously.
Mm-hmm.
So then working, like we had a day job, each one in his company, and like Nadav as a product, myself as a engineer, and we have our night job together building for other companies. And we saw a lot of companies, and we felt exactly the same problem of how you deal with things when they go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There where we started. We originally didn't go at all to the customer support field. We started with bugs and QA and product and how to prioritize and how to reproduce. And then after working with the customers, we understood that we basically in the customer support field.
Mm-hmm.
So we stopped everything, removed our product, and start exploring. uh, did like hundreds of sessions with support leaders, support agents, like
Mm-hmm.
everything, every role. And that's how we like came to Quack, and the idea of what we want to build now and what the problem that we want to solve. And the problem is like very basic: support operation, not scalable, not maintainable, not adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
We want to that, and that's there where we are now.
I got it. I got it. Well, that's a really cool story. And back when you, I understand that you met Adaf 6 or 7 years ago, as you mentioned. But if I'm not mistaken, Quack was founded back in 2023, right? Amid the AI hype, amid AI chaos, right? So
Exactly.
you partially already touched that ground. I mean, like, how did the idea first emerge? And maybe you can share the founding story, including what motivated you and Daf and the entire team to pursue AI for support operations.
Yeah, great. So we didn't like when we started Quack, as you said, we didn't start with Quack as an AI
Mm-hmm.
company at all. We started Quack from the point that we want to reduce the amount of time that it takes us to handle issues and understand even issues.
Mm-hmm.
But like ChatGPT happened, and the
Yeah.
LLM was one API call away. And then we started to understanding and thinking how we can take that technology into everything that we know. And our product is evolving with the hypes around of the AI. A lot of that because the market adoption and not like the technology. So we started with copilots and then we moved to like
Mm-hmm.
operating them, and now it's all about agents. And that's it. So that's how it happened.
I got it. Well, it sounds like a great journey that still goes on.
Exactly.
By the way, one thing that I what I noticed, and probably that partially unites lots of AI startups, is that they do not have a really big team to run them. Given that AI partially helps them to solve all that stuff. How is it in your case, and maybe how they're all split? If you can, elaborate on this.
Yeah. So that's a cool question because like I feel there is a big misunderstanding in or misconception in the
Uh huh.
market about the size of the team and like the new type of companies
Mm-hmm.
referring to the product and the technology. And I think that the misconception is everything about the market again.
Okay.
So we are like relatively small team. So we are but we started five. So
Mm.
myself, engineers, that was like most of the time that's the size. But a lot of times when we get to to sell to customers that were like in the enterprise side of the market, or like much bigger SMBs with all the compliance stuff and all the security stuff and the privacy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And support is a critical, like it's a mission critical domain. Like if
Exactly.
one is down for a couple minutes, that's not a good thing. So like, yes, the AI itself helps us to build faster and move faster, but there is still things from the real world that still require people. Okay, so compliance still requires people, and they build a scalable product that actually work with like the resiliency and the stability that we need still require people. So like we're not that story of like two people out of the apartment, like the main room in the apartment building and reaching to clients. And we are dealing with real life issues, solving real life issues in real like enterprises or big companies that require something else.
That's really a great hint, Abram, because a lot of stuff that often people might hear, and when they hear AI or something is AI connected, is yeah, they imagine it like really simple, maybe a really small team, and they expect some miracles. So it's really great that you, with all the AI innovation and innovation that AI brings actually on the table, that you keep being based and down to earth with real problems and try to involve that amidst all the chaos that's going on. We'll get back to the enterprises later because it's also one of the questions regarding the customers and companies and people you work with. One thing that really caught my attention, and I'm also curious, and I hope that not only I, is that checking your website, I noticed there is mentioning that said the only proactive AI agent for customer support designed to analyze every interaction and give your team the tools to create growth opportunities, not just resolve tickets. In practical terms, what does it mean for end users and support teams?
Okay, so what it means to let's split it into two because it's
Okay.
different. What it means for support teams, it means that they can do much more,
Mm-hmm.
achieve more with pretty much the same resources or even less. Meaning that Quack first is much more context aware in terms of what the issue, what the journey that the user had, what type of things he tried. So let's take an example. You are using, I don't know, Airbnb, okay?
Okay.
Or let's take something else even. Let's take something for the B2B world. Let's take Monday.com.
Mm-hmm.
You're using Monday.com and you are reaching out to their chat and asking how to create, like, I can create a workflow or I can create a dashboard. Okay. What you'll get to create a dashboard or to create a workflow, do one, two, three, four, right? That's great. But it's like it's missing all the context because now both of us are Mondays.com's users. I'm an expert. I'm working with Monday like for 3 years, and you just signed up and trying for the first time. So in your case, when you're saying that you can't create a dashboard, it probably would be a knowledge gap or experience user that you are. In my for me, it probably would be a bug, an issue, something in the system because I know how to do that. I did that for 1,000 times.
Oops. Some bug, I
It's
guess.
me, it's you.
I don't know.
Okay, so where you lost me?
You started describing, and I mean, like you ended on the part for me and users, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm saying both of us are users, both of us asking exactly the same question. I'm an expert, you're first timer. The answer should be different. Currently, those AI agents or AI chatbots or AI assistants are prompting exactly the same. So the first thing we want to be much more context aware.
Mm-hmm.
When we are context aware, we are opening a new possibility, a new opportunity for being also proactive.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I know that you are doing something that is not the way you want to do or you want to achieve, I can reach out and basically like save you from the bad experience that you're just about to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's from the support side, and from the user side. The user side should get less of self-service tool and more of personal assistant guidance, let's say.
I got it. I got it. Well, it definitely explains how things work and what you're trying to achieve. Definitely sounds helpful. Okay, getting back to the enterprises and probably the customers you work with. Given that like there is much to improve and a lot where support is really needed. I mean, who is Quack's target user? Of course, you can disclose that. I mean, not in names, but in the companies, maybe industries, or if there is a primary focus on some specific industries or company sizes. So.
So we are mainly focused on customer on like again customer support departments within product and software companies, which are in some sort of growth, like hyper growth or growth stage, and we prefer them to also deal with the high risk churn.
Mm-hmm.
That would be basically company that you're signing like a 2 3 years contract.
Mm-hmm.
A bad experience in customer support is one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but if you know it's a monthly subscription, low touch customers, etc., every support case would be much more valuable and much more sensitive. So we are on those sides
Mm-hmm.
more. We have customers from everything, but like those are this is like the biggest, like the most focused segment, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we have like also customers that doing other digital presence experiences. So services on the digital or like direct to consumers, etc. But again, when you're asking me what the product that we are building, who is in front of our eyes, the segment
Mm-hmm.
that I just described.
Okay, okay, I got it. Totally makes sense. And regarding the product, I noticed that Quack right now has proactive AI, which solves in a lot of ways, helps in a lot of ways. And there is also, if I'm not mistaken, it's on the beta stage right now, which is like support OS. So, what's the basic difference between them and what do they do actually?
So we are basically the operating system is everything around. You have entire support operation. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just about answering tickets.
Mm-hmm.
It's the knowledge management and the quality assurance and the reporting and voice of the customer and training of agents
Mm-hmm.
and so on, so on. So we have agents, AI agents that you can train to do that as well. And everything and all the rest is like the customer facing AI agents, which are like our main focus that can actually solve. So there is a term in customer support. I'm not sure if you're familiar with deflection rate. So for chatbots, how many of the inquiries they've been able to deflect? We don't like the term. We are looking at resolution rates, and so we are building the best trainable AI agents to get to the higher resolution rates and not just deflection.
Mm-hmm. I got it. I got it. I guess this comparison might not be exactly correct, but it partially reminds me, support OS. I mean, it partially reminds me of the your own Obsidian-like tool, which is like trains and evolves based on the all the internal stuff that you have, and in the future, it's like provides you information based on the earlier information that's been brought on and provided. Okay, sounds great. And so basically, there are two products, and let's say if the company wants to use your services, is there a subscription based or how does it work, and what is the pricing, or everything's individual? Let's call it this way.
Yeah, so we are usually companies coming for us, like to us for the resolution part, and
Mm-hmm.
then taking the OS as part of it. the pricing model is different, like across different stages,
Mm-hmm.
because we're the enterprises, so they like more into annual contracts and everything
Mm-hmm.
very predictable. From the other end, we have like smaller companies that prefer the ongoing part, such as subscription, but in any way that would be a success based. So in any way, it would be calculated by the amount of inquiries, interactions that we are able to handle properly. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like nothing about seed based, nothing about all of those. We are perfectly aligned with our customers' needs.
Mm-hmm. I got it. I got it. Just out of curiosity for listeners and viewers as well, is there at least an approximate range we can disclose? Let's say for maybe small companies and for, I don't know, maybe for real enterprise level companies, let's say, I don't know, maybe McDonald's.
So it's really it's still something that we're working on,
Okay, I got
and
it.
it's really the range is really big now,
Mm-hmm.
because like the type of companies and that coming to us is really different. That's also why we're still don't have a pricing
I got it. Makes sense.
in our website. Once we will have it, like we should finalize it first.
Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense, Avram. You've already partially mentioned also earlier what some kind of metrics are and outcomes you're focused on as a company. So, can we get back a bit to this? And once again, what metrics, maybe data outcomes, business cases, do you use to, like, assess Quack's real value for your customers? And what's the measure of a proven success? Once again.
Yeah, so we are looking at, we're trying also always to keep it as simple as possible,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, what would be the metrics for a new hire that comes in? You would like at the time of the ramp up, and you would look like at the volume of the work that he's doing, like the impact that he's providing,
Mm-hmm.
and you look like the like the quality of it. So that would be our metric. So the ramp up time, the handling metric, how much Quack handled, and of course the accuracy, the quality of it.
Okay, makes sense. Is there any, I don't know, maybe an example or let's call it people love a success story for customer deployments where QuaxAI created a clear, quantifiable impact?
Yeah, so we have a lot of them, and we
Okay.
are like weekly basis adding more and more to our website. Some of them would be Artlist and Yotpo that successfully hired Quack agent,
Mm-hmm.
trained it like they would train a human, and released it. It drives different, like we have different customers with different type of channels.
Mm-hmm.
So we have customers that deploying us, such as Yotpo, for the customer facing chat. We have customers that deploying us for the emails behind the scenes. um, so usually what we see, we are seeing higher percentages of Quack handling, which basically free the human agents
Mm-hmm.
to deal with other tasks, or help them not to hire, because like even before of the layoffs, most of the companies are not keeping up with the hires.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing that, and from there we're moving on.
Oh, okay, that sounds great. Marvelous. Also, I understand that feedback is really important in your case, especially customers' feedback, and it's really an important stuff for, I would say, for most of the seed-based startups. So I'm curious about the following: how do you guys involve customers? How do you involve users and customers in feedback, validation, and, like, continuous improvement before scaling any extra features that you add later?
Yeah. So as I said, basically we're looking at the three metrics,
Mm-hmm.
also also externally and internally, and we are all the time trying to improve them. So for example, let's say the ramp up time of Quack. Okay. So I can go and do interviews with my customers
Mm-hmm.
and users and collect the feedback of, okay, that's part is going smoothly, that part is a bit more challenging, etc. But I also can see the metric, and I can see, okay, if it takes us X time to get from onboarding to release, how I can shorten it. Then in that funnel, I can look, okay, the part that they are setting up or training Quack is the short part, the part that they are gaining the confidence up until the moment they release,
Mm-hmm.
it's taking longer. Okay, so I have a bottleneck there. How can I shorten it? How can I improve that? Okay, so basically, I'm looking, or we are looking at what the actual behavior of our customers, how they do that process, and then we are always trying to find the lowest effort, maximum impact part that we can improve.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, when we are finding the part that we want to focus on, then we go and collect the feedback to understand what exactly or what might have been helpful, etc., etc., etc.
I got it. I got it. That's completely helpful. Definitely. Definitely. I guess on this note, we can switch to the topic of our discussion. I mean, testing the real value of an AI product, which I guess would be interesting for lots of viewers and listeners. And I'll start with the following: what systematic product validation processes do you mandate before the wide release of new AI capabilities? I don't know, maybe controlled pilots, sample set reviews, A/B testing.
Yeah. So I would say first I'll start with a disclaimer. I think
Okay,
my opinions on that are a bit different than the opinions usually being heard out there.
that's great.
So maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm different. I think the way that we're treating AI as a tool
Mm-hmm.
is wrong one. I think that's exactly the case. Like the reason why most of the AI projects failing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest issue in the adoption, and we don't really need to do validation on use cases.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to observe what people doing and how we can replace that because people already validated everything for us. So for example, if customer support agent doing reporting on a monthly basis and paying that and investing that time, it's validated. They need it. Okay. Now the question is, am I able or how can I do that for them? Right? Because everything in Copilot is like some agreement between myself as a customer and you as a provider of the AI tool, the AI Copilot, that what I should pay you for what you're providing me worth what I'm getting. And it's very soft,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're saving me 1 hour sometimes, or you're saving me couple hours, or you're making my quality a bit higher, but like it's very hard to calculate it. It's very hard to do the attribution. In the other place, if I'm saying, okay, currently you have 3 analysts or whatever CS ops that collecting the reports, I will do it automatically instead. The ROI is super clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I'm looking at like new AI capabilities or new AI products, or it's more about products, less about capabilities, because capabilities within the product could
Mm-hmm.
just product a bit smoother, and it's also fine, but it's different.
Okay, okay. That's in any case, it's an interesting approach and something that's I guess not only I but viewers and listeners not hear every day, and maybe something that would shock them to their core. I don't know. Hope so. Okay, but I think jumping to the next question I had in mind is like, partially touch this ground, but still, I'm curious, how do you define real value of an AI-driven support automation with attention to both measurable business metrics and quality of user experience?
So I think the more interesting question is how to get there instead of how to prove that,
Okay,
because
sounds fair.
as I believe that specifically in the support, that's like the obvious. Like it's obviously that if currently your support department headcount
Mm-hmm.
is growing linearly with the company growth, it's by definition not scalable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as long as I'm changing the trajectory, that would be your ROI and that would be your value. So if I'm changing the trajectory or the correlation from
Mm-hmm.
1 to 1, for example, to 1 to 3, I improve that by that, right? But if I change the correlation from like 1 to 1 to 1 to 4, so I'm changing that by more. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, that would be the proof of actual value, actual ability to provide a difference in the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. I think in support it's much easier, and that's also connects to the previous answer of mine. Just in those cases of clear ROI, AI products should stay currently.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Should replace real work that's really being done today.
Okay. Sounds interesting. Sounds interesting. Yeah. Okay. And in this case, well, in this case, I have the following question: how do you then regularly review and compare human versus AI support interactions? As I understand, that's one of the products also helps customers with that. And what insights have maybe changed your model training or product decisions?
So that's an interesting one. Basically, what we're doing is we are allowing our customers to create all of those tools internally for them to be able to judge it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so again, in support there is very clear metrics in terms of the quality of the service.
Mm-hmm.
We can decide if we agree on them or not, but they are existing. And then the only part is to allow them to compare all the time and to allow them to iterate very fast to see when they're being able to improve that. So that's basically what we're doing.
Okay, I got it.
If it makes sense.
Well, I think yes, at least partially, partially yes. Okay, in this case, how do you guys avoid bias and ensure validation datasets are representative and build trust with customers when, like, testing new features or models, especially if you work with big enterprise level companies?
Yeah. So we're doing it a bit differently again, as always, trying to. Basically, we have multiple different data sets for different use cases.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, for what we define as the best AI agent or the best trainable AI agent for support, we have benchmarks. Those are internal benchmarks, internal data sets. Everything is ours, and we are the only one to see the results and see how we can improve that. Besides that, we also have a data set for each one of our customers to verify that every time that we are releasing a new version,
Mm-hmm.
we are not harming their results and their agent.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have another part in our system in the architecture that automatically chooses and defines what would be the best AI agent for each one of our customers.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine a great let's talk again about humans. A great human should have like a great human support agent should have 30 in technical understanding, 80 in empathy,
Mm-hmm.
and 55 in, I don't know, knowledge understanding, okay,
Okay.
or
Okay.
whatever. In other company, the metrics would be a bit different, right? If it's a
Mm-hmm.
more technical company, so technical understanding, it's not 30, it's like 90. So based on their data sets and based on their performance, we're also adjusting their agent
Mm-hmm.
automatically the best in their like ideal profile of support agent.
I got it. I got it. Makes sense. And in this case, are, I assume they exist, but what are the loops to compare? I don't know, maybe model decisions with let's call it frontline agent expertise, and how do negative validation results shape the next iterations? You've already partially said, Avram, that you try to improve models so they do not imprint the results from the previous bad data sets. But what about the loops? And I assume they exist. So how
So
could I?
so the loops like are always with training of humans.
Okay.
We're allowing like one of the things that we're doing is that we're like it's the main thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're building, and I said it a couple times. We're building a trainable AI agents, Meaning, if you are my customer, in the responsibility separation between you and myself, I'm responsible on building the best support AI agent out there, but your responsibility is to take it and train it to be the best support agent in your organization.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not the one to give the to create the loops or to say what is right and what is wrong. I'm the one to give you the best and to allow you with some sets of tools to get to the point that you are comfortable with.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, I got it. Totally makes sense. And I think we also partially discussed the model performance and product usefulness. I mean, in terms that, if I'm not mistaken, you rely on your own, like, metrics and customer feedback regarding how closes it to models, or I mean, like, to customer expectations, performance, right? So what I'm
Yeah.
trying to ask is that, do you also maybe use and rely on, I don't know, maybe external audits and third-party benchmarks, or only your own internal analysis, audits, and also some customer feedback?
So we are looking at different benchmarks, also external.
Okay.
I won't say this. I will say that it's more like experiments that we're doing along the way,
Mm-hmm.
and basically what we are taking with us always would be our benchmarks.
Uh-huh. Okay, I got it. I got it. With all the product performance and also hype discussion, is there a story when a hype, whether it was internal or external, led to a feature launch that maybe, like, failed objective value tests? And if so, what was learned and how was the roadmap further changed?
Yeah, so definitely, I think one of the biggest, I'd say, failures that we had is our copilot,
Mm-hmm.
the initial copilot that we started with. And it's not because, again, it's not because the technology, I don't think it's because the product. I think it's a lot about the adoption
Okay.
and the exact success criteria of that kind of product. We are seeing a lot of agent assistant today.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to a lot of companies that building internally or buying. There is always the adoption challenge of how you make your agents to actually use it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's hard. And it's even harder when you're buying, because if you are buying, you're always like blaming the vendor, and if you are building, you're just forcing your agents to use it. And so I think in general that part of productization of use case is not very great in
Mm-hmm.
support. There, like we have customers that using copilots as well, our own copilot as well. We are still offering it.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that it did the change that everybody expected to do.
I got it. I
I
got it.
prefer to look at that as you want to provide to your team a copilot because you want them to be tooled with the best, basically, starting point to do their job great, as you are buying them the new computer, new laptop, and not like an old one,
Mm-hmm.
or you are upgrading the internet in the office, or you are upgrading, I don't know, the operating system. They could do the same with, like, I don't think the ROI is that clear in those parts, but it's still something that we want to help them. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Copilot is somewhere more in those fields.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, it's a really good comparison. It's like, giving a, let's say, up-to-date laptop to a developer to code something, rather than, I don't know, some old-fashioned Mac, I don't know, maybe Macintosh or whatever is the brand, to perform within current objectives and the amount of goals that's required to achieve. By the way, since we touched the ground about the not successful Copilot, I'm curious about the following. When it comes to AI, there is a lot of uncertainties, or also, let's call them mistakes, that might be happening with training models or the results that users have. So The thing is, I'm curious about how transparent are you about reporting model errors and edge case failures, and also maybe incomplete automation if that is applied in your case, because this is an important stuff when you try to sell the AI product, especially to enterprise level companies. So
Start by
one story
I'll
is
sim-
when you sell it, and the second story is that comparing what you sold to the customer's expectation.
So that's a good question, and to be honest, in our case, because we're allowing our customers to train the AI agents, we're fully transparent with them on everything. Like they're seeing
Uh-huh.
everything. Also, see when I don't know we had a downtime in our AI, and that's why the conversation was escalated or whatever. Not that it happens a lot, but even those small edge cases that really not nice, they're still fully transparent to them.
I got it. I got it. So in this case, of uncertainty and multiple mistakes, how do you guys build this trust? Is it something like, okay, works. We understand that there would be like this level of failures or negative responses or negative, I don't know, negative information. So how do you guys build this trust?
That's a really really hard question of how we're building the trust, and I don't think we or anyone solved it yet. I
Okay.
think it's still that we're working on.
But I guess in your case, it lies up to talking to the same people. Like you, as a CTO, can explain it only to the technical skills or a person with the right background, so it delivers your response to the decision makers in your customer's team, right? Because let's say that if you're talking to, I don't know, 5 6 years old person who doesn't know a lot about AIs, especially, and how models work, most probably the customer would receive a negative feedback like you do everything wrong, like not as you promised or the customer has expected, right? So it also depends on who you talk to.
So I'd say what guides us towards
Okay.
that. Okay, we have to be very transparent
Mm-hmm.
with everything, and we have to. I think one of the biggest again misconceptions in that field is that a lot of time product teams or companies building AI trying to make AI a black box, like
Mm-hmm.
press two buttons and everything would happen,
Yeah.
and and it's not the case, and I think that's like a wrong alignment with customers. So when I'm say transparent, it's not just about the good and the bad, it's also about what happens in between.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like Quack is not a black box. Quack is fully transparent agent, communicative, providing feedback on what he think, how he thinks, and why. And I think that the biggest thing to build that confidence and trust is not to promise easy wins because they are not exist. AI, it's not a magic. Okay, it seems very magical when it works,
Yeah.
but to make it work and to take it to production, it's not a magic, and it's okay. People like we should be fine with saying that, and we should be fine with expecting and accepting that we can sell products on demos like we used to,
Mm-hmm.
because there is a demo fatigue around AI, and everybody see and say, "Wow, it's so cool! It's so cool!" It doesn't work anymore, at least. So I think that the way is to align on expectations and to be transparent along the process within the product, within the like face to face or Zoom to Zoom, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that that's our way.
I got it. Honestly, I love it. I love the way it sounds, and I'm totally agree with you that AI shouldn't be the magic of, and like appeal to solve all the problems or the button that you can push and solve everything. It's like when people we as a consulting tech company after the AI explosion, let's call it this way, there were plenty of situations when the customers who aren't technically skilled, and that's okay. But we were asked about if we can deliver and develop an application similar to, I don't know, maybe Uber or Airbnb, with a really small budget, but they hope that with the AI it can be done like in no time. But it's not the way it works. And this is why I really love the way how you describe it and how you mentioned that it's AI is not a miracle, but it's a helpful tool. So yeah, this is really great, and it resonates with me personally. By the way, when it comes to hype, what's the processes, or maybe the process at Quack when you see a new, let's say, demand for a new functionality that's connected with AI? What's the process for separating the hype from the real business impact before scaling development or further improvement?
Yeah, so I think I'd speak even before the technology part. I think it's more a product focused question.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important for companies, entrepreneurs, product managers, whoever it is, to really know what we are and what we are not,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay. First and foremost, that's like the step number one. I just had a call with a prospect that asked us to do a lot of custom development that we really don't want to do. And he said, like in some point, he said, I would really like to work with you, but I don't want you to force to do that, etc., etc., etc. And and immediately what I answered is like in a more gentle way, but I answered, you can't. I know what I am. I know what I'm not. I know what I'm building, and I'm not, and I know what I'm not building. I know that it's not in my scope, and I'm not trying to do that. And when you have that, like, right and wrong, or like the black and white spaces, the gray is becoming smaller. And in the gray area, we can look at it and say, okay, what is the metric that we're trying to move?
Mm-hmm.
Is it moving the needle or not? If I need to like spend 2 days of development, but it's unlocking me the next stage with specific customer, that from there I'll be able to like jump in 20-30% of resolutions, then it's a no-brainer, right? So I think first know who you are and who you're not, and after that most of the things would be much clearer and easier.
Well, it's a nice approach. It's a good one approach, actually. A lot to think on that, to be honest. So that's a really good explanation about lots of things, and just start thinking with and asking questions who you are and who you are not. That's a really good one. Good one. I think I should have asked this before when talking about customers and geographies. Like, let's get back to the product partially, and where geographically are from your current customers? Do you focus on some specific region, or you work with all over the world? How is it in your case?
So we are having customers in like mainly in the US, of course,
Okay.
but we're also having customers in Europe and in
Mm-hmm.
Israel,
Okay.
and that would be our like areas of focus for now at least. So
Mm-hmm.
the US market is the, again, the most obvious one, but this one would be the main.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also understanding that there is a lot of companies that are in very similar profile in Israel or in the EU that we also with pleasure will be serving.
I got it. The reason I was asking about the geography is that I'm curious if there are different adaptations that are needed to validate product frameworks and success metrics based on the region. Like one for US, the other is for Europe, especially for Europe, given that they have stricter laws connected with AI regulations and etc.
So yeah, that was what I'm about to answer. So like in terms of feature wise, pretty much the same. Most of the support,
Mm-hmm.
again, it's more about the segment of the company and
Okay.
not the region of the company. In terms of compliance, etc., of course, it's different in each one of the regions to a certain extent. But we are now covering all of those, so we're free to to work with whoever we want.
Okay, I see. I got it. So you're mostly flexible at the moment, and that's great to hear. Not
Yeah.
not so many limitations. What are the most significant risks to value validation actually as core grows? Just when I ask this, it sounds like partially ridiculous. Value validation.
Can you ask again?
Yeah, what are the most significant risks to value validation as your team grows, and what specific maybe governance or advisory mechanisms mitigate?
I think the biggest risk, and tell me if it's not what you are referring to, but I think our biggest risk is not to move fast enough, as
Mm-hmm.
I would say one, and because the market is changing, we are currently have like something very unique that we are doing in terms of our product attitude, in terms of the technology that we're being able to build
Okay.
around it. Um, Everybody thinks that it's just a GPT wrapper, but like in general, all the AI startups, but it's very surprising to see how much more you have to build around just the basic GPT wrapper. And I'd say that the risk would be to lose that advantage that we have by not staying close enough to the market, not staying fast enough in terms of execution, and yeah, I think that that's the biggest one.
Mm-hmm. I got it. Got it. Makes sense. And by the way, do you publicly share post-launch value measurements results or maybe lessons learned from, I don't know, failed experiments or failed models to enhance some transparency, or is it something that you like, let's call it maybe personally, depending on the customer, share with them?
So as I said, like with our customers, everything is transparent.
Mm-hmm.
So they're seeing the results, they're running the test. It's not us. Very different from most of the other solutions out there. We're not offering any professional services or stuff like that. Our customers are the ones to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I think that's require us to be transparent to them.
I got it. Regarding transparency and partially, I think we also describe it when talking to the customers, geography, but I'm still curious, how do you ensure compliance validation? Is as rigorous as functional or business value validation? So, are there any standards that you have to follow, and how do you ensure them? Like, of course, it's GDPR, most probably industry
So
standards.
a lot of it, like GDPR and SOC 2 and ISO 2007, like 7001, and it just grows and grows and grows, and that's what I said at the beginning, like to say that AI it's a magic and it's like three people company that's serving.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice and it's for sure like working for some people. It's not working in our case. In our case, like last week when AWS
Oh yeah.
decided to let us all go to the free day and
Yeah.
then go to the beach. So at the end, it's like a mission critical service. So when we are not like when we are having downtime in any for any reason, we have customers that gets the impact, and we need to understand that responsibility, and we need to follow any procedure that can help us to provide that value in the best way we can.
Got it. Um, the next question also resonates with the first one. What procedures establish data integrity, privacy, and compliance as foundational, not just marketing and some promises for your AI platform?
So every like again, everything is around is in an enterprise agreement.
Mm-hmm.
We are obligated to not train our models on the customer's data.
Okay.
Same all the providers that we're using. We have separated regions for each one of our like for different customers because like the US and the Euro. So all like it's a lot around that. There are a lot around the data, how we deal it, how we treat it, how we're gonna keep it safely and with proceed like with the relevant standards and procedures. I don't think that it's a marketing part. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the real life part.
Oh yeah, sounds this way. And I think one of the also question that is more technically with tech background that might be definitely resonate with you is that the process of data sets validation. How do you validate them and model training to in order to avoid bias, ensure accuracy, and of course meet regulatory requirements in each deployment and with every country.
So we are working. We are not working with open source models. We're working with again, like how would they say that, commercial models
Mm-hmm.
under enterprise agreements. So part of those validations they're already passing and following.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, we have systems in place to ensure all of that and to ensure that all of the above and everything that the regulators in Europe or in the US wants and needs are confirmed. I would say that in general, that's not the challenging part.
Mm-hmm.
So like in general, the challenging part is to meet the real life production use case and to be able to provide a value, and all the regulations and everything around it. It's sometimes it makes us hard to separate between like the main thing and all the round. But again, when eyes on the prize, you understand that this is what needs to be done, and you're doing it fine.
Sounds great. And reflecting on your great journey that still goes on, and I'm convinced that will be going on, what have been the most I really hate the term, but anyway, what have been the most important lessons for escaping the hype and focusing on substance in product delivery, especially in the AI space?
Back again to everything we discussed. Know the market, know the customers, understand the problems, understand how process looks like that today, and just try slowly build something around that.
Sounds awesome. And the last question, I guess, would be addressed probably to the other founders who are already launched their startups or plan to launch. What advice would you offer on testing, validating, and communicating the true value of AI innovation in operationally critical domains?
Try to look at that as a try to look at that as a people problem and not as a technological problem, or not as a tool. If there is a human that you would hire to do that work that you're trying to force your AI to do, how you
Mm-hmm.
would treat him, you would train him, what how you would validate him, how you would make sure that he's operating successfully, how all that process would look like.
Mm-hmm.
If you'll nail it, you'll be able to do the same with the LLM.
Sounds great and helpful. I appreciate your time, Avram. It's been great discussing escaping the hype, how to test the real value of an AI product. I appreciate your time, and let's hope we'll talk soon.
Thanks so much. It was a great